Okay, so I kind of wanted to give an overall look at stamps in this video. Now, at this point in the game, I'm basically reaching the level where I'm only targeting stamps in terms of stamina usage. And why I'm making this video now is I'm having reports that a lot of free-to-plays are reaching that level 42 to 44 range. Now, why is that very important? Well, when you reach 45, you're going to unlock Emergency Operation 3, and or just the third level of Realm of Mutation, and this is going to unlock your ability to actually farm 5-star stamps. And you get it pretty often. When I was farming this, I'd be getting about one per run, which I would say is pretty good. You get one of these shards. Here you get two. You get one? No, I swear I've been getting two sometimes, so I guess it's a bit random. So essentially what I'm going to be focusing on in this video is, one, I'm going to say right away, starting level 45 is when I recommend you guys to actually grind stamps. I think that is not a bad idea because going from 45 to 60 is going to take you a lot longer. Now, besides like story lock, which I think story lock ends at 48, I don't think there's any other story after 48 because I also think they took out chapter 9. So keep that in mind. And yeah, chapter 9 was not supposed to be in game. I'm pretty sure I got confirmation on that. So I got lucky. I got a free video from that. So you would love to see it. So what I want to talk about is, well, the four gear domains, I guess. I mean, that's kind of what I'd call them, and then who they go good on, and afterwards kind of talk about some future gear pieces for them, and then also we could kind of get into some main stats and sub stats too. That's another thing. So we got four. Now this is exclusively for Bankai Ichigo. Now I'm gonna guess for Kenpachi too in the future. This one is okay. I mean, I just don't think it's the best, mainly because it's not really catered to anyone right now. So I don't really think you're really going to be using it, if I'm being honest. If it was only the attack percent, like if you could guarantee the attack percent, you'd probably use this on Kaname for the bleed and all that. But since you can't, I think it's whatever. So like if you don't have Bankai Ichigo, like this is a very low value domain. Now this one also, likewise, I don't think it's like the best. Personally, I would say we're going to tie this into which ones you should craft. I'm starting to think that the best ones to craft might be the Kisuke one, especially looking at it long term. The main reason is because I don't think like, okay, I think maybe I'm just biased versus Yoruichi, but I just don't think she's too good, especially just with how her team is. Yoruichi wants to dodge, Sajin gives a shield. That makes no sense, right? It just doesn't make sense. So, kit-wise, I think we're probably looking towards her being very good with a soy phone in the future. But I think right now you're not really going to want to build it up too much because, for example, the best thing to push with Tower, if we go, it's like, okay, I'm pushing orange, but I'm using Bankai Ichigo. Same with yellow, same with blue. So that's kind of the situation that we're in right now, at least for Tower. So I don't think, like, you might want to just get Kisuke some basic-ass gear, and then that's it, right? That's really it. Now, this one honestly is not bad. I mean, for Gin, also, this one is going to be very good. Okay, so for Gin and also for Ikkaku, then this one is going to be good for Sajin. It's going to be good for Kaname. It's definitely Kaname's best gear piece. And then also, you could probably expect this to be very good for Aizen, unless they bring in new gear sets. That's possible. Just to make sure it's clear, stamp, gear, I mean the same thing. I just switch back and forth because I'm more accustomed to saying gear. So at some point, I'll get used to saying stamp, but gear, stamp, same thing. This one's very good for a lot of units. Pretty much any battlefield unit besides Byakuya and Rukia, essentially, right? And technically, no, Uryu probably would rather this one. It gives good damage increase, which I'm going to guess for Aizen, unless they bring a new gear set, is going to be very good. So long term, there's a lot of value, especially if you're going for Gin. This one's quite good. And this one also, right? If you're going for Toshiro, this is good. And then Byakuya's, right? I would definitely say it's not bad, right? And listen, you get 2 free runs a day, so what you could do is like very simple, just alternate, right? Do 2 runs on the Ichigo, 2 runs with Kisuke Yoruichi, 2 runs with Ikkaku Sajin, and then 2 runs with Kon Byakuya, right? Go back and forth between that. You could for sure do that. But just understand, I'd say that the Blast Time and Poison Crucible are a bit more centered around certain units, right? If you're not going for Toshiro, I mean, you won't really be needing this. Like, if we're gonna say, like, in order what to concentrate on, I would definitely say starting level 45, of course, when you unlock this one. Probably start with Bankai Ichigo if you have them, right? From there, you could kind of move on to whatever supports. So, like, you know, going for this one isn't bad, especially if you're going for Toshiro. This one is very high value. You have this one for Byakuya, you have this one for Toshiro, and then afterwards, you could kind of go between back and forth the other ones, right? So it's very much who do you have on your account, who do you need to build, right? That's basically the main thing. This one for Slash is very good. I mean, it's a pretty good gear set. It's more so just the idea of it only being for Bankai Ichigo, and also the fact that I don't really like this gear set, but maybe we'll find uses. I'm not a big fan of whenever there's RNG elements and these types of things personally. So that's my thoughts on that. But overall, I definitely think starting 45 is a great time to start farming it. Now in terms of like substats and all that, right? Like, I don't think you need to go too crazy right now, but you know, trying to focus on like only leveling up those where there's gonna be things like crit rate, crit damage, attack, right? And sometimes you might get lucky, you might see a slash damage bonus. That's always good. So anything good. I got very lucky on this, right? This is something that's pretty much like one of the best substats. We got basic stats, which are the stats that are going to level up per level, and these are going to level up every 5 levels. So I got very lucky. This is like a perfect roll. All charge rate, crit damage, crit rate, attack percent. You can't get better. You cannot get better substats. What would have been nice is maybe the flat attack is slash damage bonus, but even flat attack looks good in this game because like 630, right, is kind of insane. That's a third of his attack. Like, that is very high. Okay, that is in fact very high. So we'll have to check into that. But flat attack might be better in this game. So that's something long term we'll have to see. But definitely, like, for your DPS, crit, attack, all charge rate, and damage bonuses for that damage. Now, ailment damage bonus is not one you want. Ailment damage bonus is very specific, only for Kaname and Ikaku, because it's specifically damage over time. So basically wound, right? It's a wound, or in the future, bleed, burn, things like that. So when a Yamamoto gets burned, ailment damage bonus is going to be good for Yamamoto, for example. So yeah, you don't need it for someone who doesn't have any damage over time. So try to keep that in mind. We're not going to talk about the core snap, but yeah, for set stamps, obviously that's where you go for DPS, and then you kind of change, right? So for Kisuke, for example, he needs specific builds, right? For example, Kisuke would need crit damage because it's based off of his crit damage that he gives the crit damage buff. So you're going to want to technically have a certain amount of crit damage. But besides that, you'd be mainly looking for all charge rate, and that's kind of it, right? Like, you don't really need to be too crazy with his build. Same with Byakuya. I'm going to make more in-depth builds, but like same with Byakuya, like get some damage bonuses, and you don't need to be too crazy with him. I got a pretty good piece. It would have been nice if it was more into all charge rate, though, I'm not going to lie. But this is not a horrible piece, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, like, that's something for Slash. Then, you know, for these two, trying to build it more off of attack and ailment damage bonus because of the fact that, well, if we go to wound, it's based off of attack. So for units like this, for damage over time units, it's more so something you're going to want to build revolving around attack so that the damage over time is built up. And then for strike, I just do whatever. They're just not like crazy anyway, so it's not really going to change too much, right? But still, you know, just the normal for them, right? It's not anything out of the ordinary. So for them, just go for your crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, strike damage bonus, right? But stay away from ailment damage bonus. So I just wanted to kind of do a little thing on all of this, right? Try and stay to where you're going to target, like I said with the crafting, right? You could alternate between the two, right? You could definitely alternate between the two, where you go between crafting and you go between crafting and dungeons, right? And, you know, for the sets that you need less of, for maybe your supports, you could go for crafting. And then if you're trying to get more pinpoint, or you could do whichever one you want, right? One set for crafting, one set for the gear, like the grinding every day. And that's going to be a decent way to go about it, because, you know, you get 2 daily runs, you get to craft from doing tower, which is honestly something very nice, I'd say. Being able to do your tower runs, and every time you do one trial, getting 10 shards to craft a potential 5-star, which I did make a video on this, being able to craft a 5-star, right? Because there is a chance. There is a chance, and there's a pity. After 5, you have a guaranteed 5-star, so a gold, right? There's no pity afterwards because, well, you're guaranteed a 5-star, but here, after 5, you are guaranteed a 5-star. So definitely going back and forth between that is not bad. I think you can definitely dump a good amount right? You could definitely dump a good amount of stamina into it starting level 45 because you have 5 levels until you're going to be able to really get further. So, you know, you could get a lot. And then especially, for example, with something like this event, you get an extra stamina pill a day. With joint exercise, every day you're able to get an extra one. I just hope that with compensation, we get a bit more stamina, if I'm being honest, because to be honest, we're definitely missing a little bit, right? Like, especially, for example, this is actually pretty important. Like, Guild Boss, because we were the top 1 guild, well, we got the stamina, even though guild is down. So technically, we could have had this place taken. It wasn't going to be. We were going to be number 1, but we could have had it taken. So they should definitely give extra compensation for the fact that guild is down. That we need more stamina pills for sure. So yeah, definitely, you could definitely build for the future, right? Like I said, units like Aizen could take the battlefield set, then Toshiro with Cone. But for right now, try and focus on the damage dealing units. So that would be Ichigo, Ikkaku, and then also Kaname and Yoririchi. And then afterwards, you could go for more Byakuya, right? Now, you know, don't go too crazy on building SRs because, for example, like Rukia is going to get completely washed out by Aizen, right? And if you like Aizen, well, obviously there's going to be that. Now, Rukia is universal, but I mean specifically if you're going to use her on blue. Now, besides, you know, we'll do more of a general like stamina usage after that. Like, you could definitely prepare for 50 because you're going to need a lot of Ascension materials. Sorry, wrong one. You're going to need a lot of Ascension materials. It's pretty expensive. I think it was 14 purple. No, 14 blue. Sorry, 14 blue. So it's definitely rough, but at a certain point, you'll end up being fine. And, you know, this is not something you need to rush in a single day. I always rather when gotchas, especially for free-to-play stuff, something more long-term to look forward to. I haven't really seen many people say there's nothing to do. I've just seen people say either that they just have been locked out of it, want to play more, or just don't find it fun, which you're entitled to that opinion, of course. So, you know, definitely take this more of a casual standpoint. The fact that they're giving you these 2 daily runs to do here, obviously do them, but make sure you're not trying to, like, you know, over abuse your time on this game and take it more casually than maybe some people do. So that's going to be it. Just kind of wanted to talk about some of the main stats, the sub stats, talk about when you should start farming, which is definitely starting about level 45. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're doing with your account. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye.